This season is full of chaos, but nobody has messed with my head more than Won-kyu and Ji-Hyun. The second they stepped into the X room, the tension was so thick you could pack it in a suitcase. And when the real reason for the breakup dropped, yup, my jaw was on the floor. Let's break down what really went wrong. Hi guys, it's your girl, Funnel Pop. Thanks for joining me on this juicy adventure. Thanks for subscribing, liking the video and commenting. So first off, what is that tension between Won-kyu and his ex Ji-Hyun when they both decided to enter the X room? The energy between them was something. Tension, irritation, confusion, a little lingering romance, a little bit of, why are you breathing near me, all mixed together. And for the first time, we finally understood what actually happened between them, and why they ended up here looking like two people who still care too much to fully let go. When I first heard Ji-Hyun's side of the breakup, I genuinely stayed quiet about Won-kyu. I didn't want to say something out of emotion and regret it later. Because the way she explained how he treated her during her lowest moment didn't sit right with me. She was trying to figure out her career, trying to make a major life decision, and instead of supporting her, he basically told her she was unstable and indecisive. Then he dumped her. Even on the show, there's been a couple of times he had talked down on her, and that really isn't cool. Saying things like Ji-Hyun has a more stable career than his ex, constantly comparing them both to each other. Honestly, for the first time since I started analyzing these shows, this is the first time I would call someone a red flag, and yes, I gave Won-kyu the red flag stamp. And you guys know, I don't throw that around lightly. I didn't even give that to Gwon-hee, as crazy as he was, on Singles Inferno hahaha. But episode 11 changed things for me a little. I'm not saying he's suddenly an angel, but I sort of understand him a little better. Yes, he has a bad habit of comparing his partner or ex-partner to others, which I hope he changes because it seems he is oblivious to this behavior of his. However, Won-kyu is extremely realistic, too realistic sometimes. And Ji-Hyun is a dreamer who likes to try different things before making full life decisions. She wants to chase a career in the arts, she wants to find her own path. They're fundamentally different people. And those differences didn't magically go away just because they were in love. And here's the thing nobody wants to admit, Ji-Hyun has her flaws too. Now let's talk about the wedding dress incident, the spark that lit the breakup on fire. Won-kyu has a female friend of 10 years who is getting married. The groom was busy, so she asked Won-kyu to tag along to help her pick her wedding dress. He asked Ji-Hyun if he could go, and she said yes. Only to then change her mind the next day, asking him why he even asked her that question in the first place. This is where I think Ji-Hyun made a mistake. Why did she agree in the first place? She shouldn't have done that. She should have been firm from the moment he asked, that she wasn't okay with it. This is why setting boundaries are important. If she was clear about it that she didn't want him to go and he did regardless, that would have been the worst, and her anger would have been justified, which isn't the case here. And personally, I don't see anything wrong with him helping his friend of 10 years pick a wedding dress. She's getting married. They're not dating. They've never dated. And honestly, I wouldn't want my future husband to see my wedding dress beforehand anyway, because that ruins the surprise. If I had a male friend I trusted for years, I would absolutely bring him along too. So I get why Won-kyu thought this was harmless. But even with all that said, this was not a big enough reason to break up. They had a great relationship. We saw their old videos. I thought this man had a resting bitch face, but I saw a different side to Won-kyu while they dated. He smiled a lot and they had so much fun together, which I did not expect at all. They were goofy, they traveled, they had fun, they actually looked like a real couple with real happiness. They were adorable. So for things to fall apart over what felt like one flimsy situation, almost made it seem like Won-kyu dumped the relationship over a flimsy reason, as if he's been looking for a good excuse to exit the relationship. But also, Ji-Hyun was really twisted up in her own thoughts back then. She wasn't just hurt, she was interpreting everything through this negative filter. Won-kyu gave her what he believed was realistic advice, and she heard it as criticism. After the breakup, when he finally reached out months later, she got annoyed thinking, oh, now that I finally got a job, he wants to talk to me. Meanwhile, he literally hadn't contacted her for 7 months and had no clue what her situation was. He even sent her a hoodie for her birthday just to cheer her on, and she still thought, so he only messaged me because I got employed? That assumption felt a bit too twisted, even for a breakup brain. It was almost like, girl, it's not like you became a surgeon overnight lol. But hey, they don't communicate well, so it's kind of understandable. And here's the insane part, they actually talked about marriage. There's even a whole pre-wedding video. Which makes their breakup feel even more frustrating, because these two weren't casually dating. They were serious. They loved each other. They just misunderstood each other so badly that everything got tangled. After the axe room, Won-kyu actually reminded her he'd like to go on a date with her. And she said she'd think about it. Then she tried to lighten the mood saying, it'll be fun, and his response was so dry that even I felt secondhand embarrassment. Honestly, their chemistry is there, they spark, they push each other's buttons, but their communication is zero. Broken and non-existent. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if they somehow found their way back to each other, but they'll need some serious counseling on how to communicate with each other better. Now let's talk about the triangle nobody asked for, Ji-Hyun, Yushik, and Won-kyu. Ji-Hyun was confident about her connection with Yushik. She was mostly attracted to him, and that was clear. They had that nighttime date, the spark was there, everything looked cute. But after the keyword date, when he purposely chose Hee-yeonji, Yushik realized he had stronger feelings for Hee-yeonji than for Ji-Hyun. So, backtracking to after having a conversation with her ex Won-kyu in the backyard over apples and butting heads about them going out on a date being fun or not, that situation as little flirty tense moment. Seriously, the apples scene had romantic comedy energy whether they admit it or not, there's still a strong spark between them and I felt it. Anyways, she went to the terrace to talk to Yushik to check out his feelings, to which she confirmed that he had feelings for someone else. Then she asked him an interesting question. She asked Yushik if he was being sincere, and Yushik said he was sincere and said that is why he is being careful in his decision-making. In my mind, I found it interesting that she would question his sincerity lol. As if she sensed he had been playing with her emotions. If you don't understand what I mean about my curiosity in her questioning his sincerity, you should watch my previous video before this about Yushik and Mikyoung, you'll understand what I mean. Personally, I think Yushik either found out that she was Won-kyu's ex, and didn't want to complicate things because they were roommates, and he respects that friendship. Or he stepped back from her because he felt she was falling too fast for him, and wasn't ready for the backlash, if he ended up not catching up with her pace, or choosing her in the end. Hence, his reason for choosing Hee-yeonji. Either way, I'm glad he ended things early. It's better to pull out before feelings get messy. Now, about Ji-Hyun. Listen, he's moving a little too fast for my taste. Their keyword date felt like a job interview. He wasn't giving romance, he wasn't giving charm, he was just giving pressure. And it made their date so boring. She clearly liked him at first sight, but that first date killed the spark. But now, after being rejected by Yushik, she's suddenly embracing Ji-Hyun a bit more. She needed comfort, attention, affection, and he's right there giving it. Also they share similar attributes like chasing their dreams. Ji-Hyun studied robotics engineering in school which guarantees him getting a good job, but he decided to become a barrister instead. This actually lines up with the kind of person she is. She was an actress, who later decided she wanted to be an announcer, but then became a teacher instead. And because they were not 30 years old before making these decisions, I think it's fine because they are trying to find their path in life. So I think in this sense, these two actually suit each other better. And it started to feel real, like, okay, these two have the potential to develop into something really good and sweet later on in the show. Now the big question, who will Ji-Hyun end up with? Here's my theory. I don't think she ends up with Won-kyu romantically. Not because they don't still love each other, I actually think they do, but because they haven't healed enough to restart that relationship. There's too much resentment, too many misunderstandings, too many old wounds. They need time apart to grow individually. As for Yushik, that door is closed, dead and finished. And honestly, I'm glad. Ji-Hyun has a chance, but only if he slows down. If he gives her softness, not pressure, warmth, not intensity. If he does that, they might actually work. He feels safe to her in a way the others don't. But here's my final prediction. Ji-Hyun is leaving this show with clarity, confidence, and power, not a man. And honestly, that might be her happiest ending. But if she does couple up with someone, I think it will be Ji-Hyun, unless of course if the new male catfish sweeps her off her feet, while Won-kyu sits in the back, silently regretting everything ha ha ha. So yeah, that's where I'm standing as of episode 11. Ji-Hyun is walking out of this show with more clarity and possibly, romance. Let me know in the comments who you think she'll choose, or if she should just choose herself. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you'll get notified as soon as I upload the next one. See you soon, bye.